Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Michael Cohen. This morning, I woke up to the news that Donald Trump was walking around on the White House roof, ranting and raving like a lunatic. He was saying things like, I pay for this all. Me, I finance everything. This is me. I'm financing this all. I pay for it. That's me. And then the reporter's like, what are you doing up there? What I finance, but what are you doing? Missiles. We're building missiles. You're building a nuclear missile. You're building nuclear missiles on the roof. What are you saying? What are you talking about? I mean, they're mocking him right now across the world. I've seen Russia TV just relentlessly post this image of him, and I remember hearing those stories back in the early 1990s or so of Boris Yeltsin visiting the White House, drunk out of his mind, like walking around and in like a stupor, and I never saw the photos or heard about it. And Donald Trump doesn't, drink. I'm not sure about any other behavior that he engages in, but he says he doesn't drink. And but he's up there looking like a lunatic, talking about could you imagine, you know where I'm going with this? Could you imagine for a moment if you had former President Biden on the roof engaging in behavior that resembled this? Here, let me just show you this clip, Cohen. This is what happened earlier today. Let's play it.
Mr. President, what do you want to build? What are you trying to build?
Sir, do you approve?
You saying more missiles?
Are you building missiles? What?
Come on, Dad.
That might be missiles.
Did you say missiles?
Netanyahu taking over all of Gaza, sir.
I want to play for you the next clip, which
Can I ask you a quick question before you go to the next clip?
Yeah.
Has any other president in this country's history ever walked the roof of the White House?
You know what that reminded me of? And this is a short answer is I don't know. I doubt it. I mean, that was very bizarre behavior. But
why did Secret Service even allow it?
what I also don't, what we're watching there too, that's the press down there. And what it reminded me of is if you've been to a zoo and like you see the koala bear or you see the gorilla, you know what I mean? Kind of come out and then the gorilla, because the gorilla often hides, and it's great when the gorilla comes out and you're like with your family and you're like, oh, look, the gorilla. Do you see? Look, it's with his little children. Do you see the gorilla? The gorilla. Hey, gorilla! You smiling there? The gorilla smiled. The gorilla waved. The gorilla waved. That isn't that what it's like? Like they're treating him like he's the gorilla in the zoo that just came out.
Every time the president comes out, whether it's
the gorilla wave, the gorilla wave. Here, just play before we play the Fox clip. Just play it again with that in mind. Think about when you're at a zoo with your kids or your grandkids, and it finally comes out, and you're like, "I think it waved to me, Sonny. It waved to me." Here, play this clip.
On the roof of the White House, he's taking questions, or he was just a few moments ago. Let's listen in, please.
Looking good, Peter.
God,
it's almost like
you
know how they would, Ben. You know how they would communicate with him like this, Mr. President. Sounds like, right?
Okay. Yeah. Like I watched that, and again, like if this was the movie Idiocracy, it would be hard to believe that this was even like a fictional movie. I'd be like, come on, you're writing this. There's no way that it's even believable. But there he is right there. What's he even talking about? everything is financed by me. No, what are you talking about? Every weekend you go and play golf, or you take vacations, or the previous week you were in Scotland, not financed by you, financed by me and Michael Cohen and our viewers and the American taxpayers who are paying for these trips. You know, when he goes, I paid for everything. I don't take my salary. Well, the bottom line is within about 10 minutes of your trip, you are getting your salary paid for by the American people. You've promoted your golf courses on the White House account. You've gotten a Qatari jet that taxpayers are paying $1 billion for. And you saw, Cohen, that I think it was Democratic Senator Chris Murphy introduced an amendment that said, look, we're going to, like, we don't think you should have this Qatari jet at all, but can we all agree on a bipartisan basis that if the American taxpayers are doing $1 billion or going in $1 billion on this jet, that Trump doesn't get to keep it afterwards, that it can be used for American people stuff, like it belongs to the people, not to Trump? Can we vote against it going to Trump? All the MAGA Republicans said, nope, he gets the jet. It becomes his personal gift. So at one point, Cohen, like there is no rationality to what's taking place.
It's the same point, Ben, that they're making when they're introducing a bill within which to have Trump's face installed in Mount Rushmore, to add either a $250 bill with his face or a $500 bill with his face on it. I mean, there comes a point where it's getting not even obnoxious. It's well past that. When you're talking about renaming the Kennedy Performing Arts Center, obviously this is going to be a Trump pavilion at the White House, right? I mean, and rightfully so. He is the one that has decided to build this $220+ million extension. I mean, for God's sakes, let's be real about something too. The pavilion or the ballroom or whatever else you want to call it is actually in size twice the size of the White House. It's 90,000 square feet. The White House is 45,000 square feet. It's twice the size of the White House. And you say to yourself, really? Okay, fine. The Trump Pavilion. But now you go down the street, you're going to have the Trump Performing Arts Center, and then you're going to have new currency, despite the fact I thought we were getting off paper currency anyway. I'm very, very, very confused here.
Well, the people are very, very, very angry here right now. And I mean, you looked at, there was a town hall yesterday in Mike Flood, MAGA Republican Congress member's district. This is Lincoln, Nebraska. And the people in Lincoln, Nebraska, you know, they've lost 6% on their GDP. I mean, the people in Nebraska are losing their jobs right now. There's been significant negative, GDP there. The way the economy has contracted, it's hit Nebraska particularly hard over the past 6 months. And then you have, to some point, do you give this guy Mike Flood credit for even going to his district and holding a town hall and seeing what the people feel about him? But let me just show you a sample. This is a sample of how Mike Flood's town hall had been going in Lincoln, Nebraska. This was yesterday in Lincoln. Here, play it.
It talks about two big changes to the Medicaid program. One of those changes is that if you are able to work and you are able-bodied, you have to work. If you choose not to work, you do not get free health care. You do not get free health care. Okay. So here's a question. Do you think that people who are 28 years old that can work and refuse to work should get free health care? I don't think that a majority of Nebraskans agree with you.
Now here he is on one more on Snap Cuts, He's asked about the cuts to food assistance in the disastrous budget bill. Let me play this one.
Why did you cut SNAP and healthcare research?
We do not have unlimited money in the United States. In 2019, our country spent $60 billion on SNAP. During COVID, that number went to $100 billion. And for good reason. I mean, during COVID, we had a situation where we had a worldwide pandemic. We had people that couldn't work. There was a need for extra food, supplemental nutrition programs. What we did, this Congress, two things. We returned our spending on SNAP to our pre-pandemic level of 2019 at $60 billion. And we also said to states that have low error rates, and Nebraska has low error rates, that there's going to be incentive for states that do it right, and there's going to be a disincentive for states that have a high error rate.
Okay, he's so wrong, basically on everything that he's saying. First and foremost, somebody has to teach him a little bit about economics, all right? Pay attention on this one, my friends. So let's say his number is right, that the United States spent $100 billion within which to feed the 360 million Americans, assuming nobody was able to work because of COVID. We know that that's not true, but for argument's sake. Okay, first and foremost, it's not $100 billion that goes out that nothing comes back. The vast majority of that 100 million, almost 60% of it, actually comes back to the US government in the form of taxes. Let's just use an example so you follow where I'm going with this. Let's say for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they're making a bagel with roast beef, tomato, and Russian dressing. All right. And that's what you're eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, everybody. And that's what paid for that's what the $100 billion paid for. Well, somebody has to produce the cattle. In order to produce the cattle, you have to have feed, right? There are workers that are there. You have, it has to be transported to the slaughterhouse. The slaughterhouse then has employees there, and then they end up obviously, taking the animal apart, and then it has to then get packaged and sold, and then so on. There's taxes. There's income being generated by all of these people who pay a minimum tax rate of 33% to the IRS. I mean, that's just the beginning. What about all the people in between, the packaging? And so what about the people that are ultimately making the sandwiches? And what about the people that are wrapping the sandwiches in saran wrap? Though that saran wrap has to be made also and transported, and there's taxes raised by everybody. This idiot has no idea what he's talking about. He makes it seem as if though, yeah, we just thought we were paying $100 billion. I mean, this is the problem when you have idiots that are elected to office. Plain and simple. They just don't understand how the economy actually really works. And then to sit there and to make these, you read the room, moron. Just read the room. They're not on your side. They don't want Americans to basically go hungry. We don't want children to go hungry. Oh, you know why they should go hungry? Because we need a 90,000 square foot fucking attachment to the White House. So in that way, somebody could put their name on it. We don't need a $1 billion nuclear fucking plant on the moon. Okay? We just don't need this. I would rather not have a space war, put a nuclear facility on the moon. I'd rather not have that so that we can make sure every single child goes to school and has a decent meal in their belly so that they can study and do the best that they possibly can in life. That senior citizens should not have to start rationing their insulin or their their medication so that they can afford to have something on the table to eat for dinner, or be able to pay for their rent and electricity. Yeah, I would rather not be up there on the moon. All right. First of all, I think it's a stupid idea anyway. What happens hypothetically? That thing goes off and it splits the fucking moon in half. It's a nuclear explosion. Next thing you know, you're gonna have rock and radiation coming to where? The gravitational force will pull it to Earth. This whole thing is just stupid. I have no idea where this came from, and I'm so tired of the stupid spending on stupid things as opposed to taking care of our veterans, taking care of our teachers, taking care of our police officers, our firefighters, our military, taking care of our children. How about children with cancer? So let's stop. Let's stop with the stupidity and let's concentrate on humanity.
You had someone at that town hall ask Mike Flood, okay, you're doing $450 million that are being allocated to alligator concentration camps. Here, watch, it's to your point, Cohen. Like, this is what you're spending our taxpayer money on, and you're taking it away. They're stealing it from FEMA, right? This is money for disaster relief that they're using to fund concentration camps across the country. Here, let's play her.
My question is fiscal. With 450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz and 600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
Read
Now,
the room, Representative Flood. By the way, I don't know who it was in the comments. One of our brigaders, you are funny as hell. It's like, yeah, we should put a nuclear plant on the moon and run an extension cord to Earth. That's fucking funny. I mean, it's one of the dumbest things I've ever. Well, there you go. So maybe he'll hand out roses too. I mean, this is just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. A nuclear reactor on the moon. Yeah, sure, that's great.
Jeremy,
so we can get to Mars.
Jeremy, play the very first clip that we started this episode with, the one where Donald Trump comes out on the roof. And I want all of our viewers who are joining now to, again, think about the last time you visited a zoo and think about from the zoo. I mean it sincerely, the gorilla or the orangutans, right? They don't always come out, and sometimes they're the main attractions. So you'll be with the family and they'll be like sleeping or they'll be hiding, and then they come out for maybe like a split second and they'll just do something like crazy or ridiculous. Like they'll do something, right? And then you see, because it reminds me of the experience. I was at the LA Zoo. It's a life experience. I was at the LA Zoo recently with my daughter. I'm actually speaking about the gorilla that's there. The gorilla's kind of in hiding and you're like looking around. It's perched up on like this rock. And then the gorilla comes out with like its little gorilla family. And then the gorilla like looks at you. And I go to my daughter, Jimena. I'm like, Jimena, the gorilla looked at, did you see it? It waved to you. It blinked at you. Did you hear it? And you go, da, 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 da. That's what the press watching this looks like. It looks just like that to me. Here, watch what happened earlier this morning. Let's play it.
Mr. President, what do you want to build? What are you trying to build? Sir, you approve? You saying more missiles? Are you building missiles? What? Come on, Dad.
There might be missiles.
Did you say missiles?
Taking over all of Gaza, sir.
And why this is even beyond parody and why you can't write this in a script, okay? What he said was, I'm building nuclear missiles on top of the White House. Then you have another reporter asking about a very serious issue, the atrocities taking place in Gaza. And you have Donald Trump on the roof, this addled, cognitively delusional, malignant, narcissistic, crazy person up there. And they're like, Did he say nuclear weapons? Did he say nukes? What are you going to do about Gaza? To me, that clip right there encapsulates why America's losing its power right now. Everything I talk about, to me, at the Midas Touch Network, how bad corporate news is, Donald Trump being crazy, it's all encapsulated. The issues with our alliances, the world hating the United States was in that clip. These are serious life and death issues. Nuclear weapons is a funny joke. You know, what are we talking about? I mean, you're bringing up Gaza while the guy's on the roof. What are you going to do about Netanyahu? God, who did he wave to me? This is serious stuff. I want to talk about that and more. Let's play just before we go. Let's tease, because we've got a lot to discuss. Let's show Jeremy what's going on in other town halls across the country as well, because it wasn't just Mike Flood in the Republican district of Congressmember Brian Steele. Let me show you right here how he was destroyed by booze at a Wisconsin town hall. Let's play this one.
Why are they wearing masks and why are they unidentified?
We'll probably agree to disagree on some of my answer here. But what I view is the moral hazard created by the Biden administration by allowing the U.S.-Mexico border to remain insecure. And so it's completely fine that we disagree. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing on the topic. President Biden had a different view than I did on the importance of securing the U.S.-Mexico border. But as millions of illegal immigrants came into the United States and there's a lack of action by the federal government, you're now seeing that action take place with the removal particularly of individuals who are in the country illegally.
Okay. Let's even assume for a split
Cohen,
second.
I'm going to have to get your reaction when we come back from a quick break. The producers are saying, quick break. A reminder, subscribe to we subscribe to Michael.
I'm on a little bit of a delay. Now they're yelling at me.
Subscribe to Michael Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. Subscribe here. Subscribe to Michael Cohen's Substack. Subscribe to the Midas Touch Substack. Subscribe to Michael Cohen's audio podcast, Mea Culpa, wherever audio podcasts are available. Cohen, I'm on pins and needles to hear what you have to say to that clip, but we've got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
All right, picture this. It's Brooklyn, early 1990s, and I'm in Bensonhurst at my buddy Vinny's Nona's house. Sunday dinner. Smell hits you like a freight train. Garlic, tomato, fresh basil, and judgment. She serves this eggplant parm. It's my favorite. It's so good. I actually shut up for 5 straight minutes. And if you know me, that's a freaking miracle. Now, since then, I've been chasing that flavor like it owes me money. And then Cook Unity shows up. Chef Jean George's lasagna, it's like Nona reincarnated and moved into my fridge. Layers of pasta, meat, cheese, it all melts in your mouth like it's telling you a bedtime story. No prep, no cleanup, no sauce on your tie. You're getting handcrafted small batch meals from real chefs. James Beard winners, Food Network pros, the whole lineup. Organic ingredients when possible, humanely raised meat, and absolutely no mystery goo. Italian, Thai, vegan, keto, whatever you want, they've got it. And the best part, it's not just convenient, it's legit delicious. You're not sacrificing, you're upgrading. You're living like a boss without paying $35 for cold takeout. Get what they're craving. Try the freshest, best tasting meal delivery made by your favorite celebrity chefs. Go to cookunity.com/beatfree or enter code BEATFREE before checkout for free premium meals for life. That's free premium meals for life by using code BEATFREE. That's BEATFREE or going to cookunity.com/beatfree. That's COOKUNITY.com/beatfree. Terms and conditions apply. Go to cookunity.com for details. And thank you, Cook Unity, for sponsoring this show. As I say, manja, baby, manja.
That's what you
Manja,
say to me.
baby.
You go, hey, Ben, manja, baby, manja, baby. You
Manja.
want to be Cohen, that's how Cohen calls me. He goes, hey, Ben, you want to be a boss man? Cook Unity, manja, baby. That's how Cohen talks to me. Cohen, you're about to say something. Let me show you the other clip of Congressmember Brian Steele getting booed at the town hall while defending Trump's tariffs, and then we'll tie it all together. Here, play this clip.
My main concern is the tariffs that are coming up. I would like to know what dire economic circumstances put Trump in a position of throwing tariffs on over 190 countries.
This really, at its core, needs to be an opportunity to make sure that other countries are treating the United States fairly. The United States.
Interesting.
Again, here's the big problem. The schmuck doesn't know how to read the room. All right. You're not going to win an argument, not whether they're Republican, not whether they're Democrat, not whether they're independent. Here's the thing. This is what he's missing. Go into your big box store, your I don't know, your Myers, your Costco's, go into your Walmarts, your TJ Maxx, wherever it is that you're going to go. And already what you're going to see is prices increased. And not prices by 5% or 10%, but by 20% or more. Now, it's one thing if you're going in to buy one item, and instead of paying $10, you pay $12. Okay, you could sort of deal with that. But what if now you're filling up your grocery, all right, and you have 50 items in there? Now, instead of your grocery bill being $100, it's $130. What if hypothetically you need to buy a few things? Well, lo and behold, it's literally 20, 25, 30% more for each item. You're not able to afford it anymore because by doing that, you end up taking away from other things that you need. It's not like you're one of the billionaires. If you're a mega billionaire, you're not thinking about tariffs or anything. Nothing matters because you can't spend your money in 100 lifetimes. But for the average American, you're trying to make it work, trying to stretch out every dollar. They've taken that away from you. And that's what that man represented. The one who stood up there before that representative and said to him, I want to know why. And when they start feeling it in their pocket, personally, I don't think anything that's going on, whether it's Texas or any of the other Republican states, are going to matter because the one thing people will always do, and that's vote with their pocketbook.
If you think about what billionaires have been okay with is if you reduce federal income taxes, right, the way they like all state income taxes being eliminated, and then you just have a national sales tax. Remember those ideas that were pitched for like decades by those economists, that a national sales tax essentially replaces your income tax.
Yep.
And if your national sales tax has an effective rate when you blend it at like 15 to 18% or so, right? For billionaires, that's the greatest thing imaginable, right? Because now they're paying even less taxes and you bring down their income taxes. But where it hurts the most is the consumer or the regular people who are paying hidden taxes. And we see this in states, right? Like California or New York or places like that where people go, oh, well, the state taxes there are so much higher than they are in Texas or Florida. Well, first off, you have to then live in Texas and Florida. But actually in Texas and Florida, they hit you with so many other taxes, whether it's property taxes, insurances.
Homeowners association, insurance.
All the things are so high that you end up actually either paying the same amount or even more than you're actually paying in state income tax in a state like California. You're actually more taxed in these other states. And so in theory, what the billionaire class, what the oligarchs, what the architects of Project 2025, I believe are trying to engineer, but they're doing it ineffectively because Donald Trump is the guy on the White House screaming about nuclear weapons on top of the White House. And he gets angry and he uses tariffs as part of his malignant narcissism. But if you were to say, what do you think is the secret plan here? The secret plan, I think, is being implemented. You basically get rid of all of the federal income taxes, or you lower them as much as possible on rich people. and then you make up for it by taxing, the regular folk in the form of a national sales tax, which is taxing ourselves, where the company passes that on to consumers. It is being so ineffectively administered because Donald Trump ran on making things cheaper. So people are saying, what the hell? Corporations are saying, what the hell? And Donald Trump's tariffs against the world and the kind of incoherent fake deals that he's making that don't have any paperwork attached to it. Even if you say, okay, well, like South Korea responded, we're not giving the United States $450 billion.
The
Maybe
EU responded with the same thing. We're not giving $100 billion for him to make a decision. They don't have the kind of money.
They don't have that kind of money. I mean, South Korea, that would be 24% of its entire GDP. Like it's not happening.
Where are all of the Republicans who are not stupid? I mean, it's wrong for us to turn around and to say every Republican is a moron.
Well,
every Republican representative is a moron. They have no idea what they're talking about. The bottom line here, and there is no argument to this, the uber wealthy, the mega billionaires, and so they don't pay any taxes because there are schemes, there are workarounds that their very expensive law firms put forth so that they don't. One of the things that they did not get rid of is the airplane deduction. Yes, the airplane deduction. So somebody like a Jeff Bezos or an Elon Musk, they take no salary. What they ultimately do is they take money from the stock that they own, they borrow against it, which is technically a loan. So then, therefore, they pay no money at all. I mean, now Elon Musk, for example, is supposed to be, he's fighting right now for like a $25 billion compensation package. I mean, these numbers are mind-blowing. So what will happen? He's going to have to pay some form of a tax. Poor baby, right? No, because what he'll do, he'll buy a fleet of 757, 747s, Falcon F-10s. These planes go for hundreds of $millions, right? And that way you're able to depreciate it in 1 year, 2 years, or up to say like 10 years. And then they just take them and then they give them to like a NetJets or a company like that to lease them out. So now they have a whole nother business because they didn't pay for it. Now, I think they did away with the yacht exemption, but I'm not 100% certain about that. There's a scheme to avoid paying taxes by the people who actually, it's easy for them to pay more than any of us, but they don't want to. And this administration has figured out a way how to give them exactly what they want.
And it solves everything if the rich are first taxed fairly. Like, let's just start off with fair, right? Take away we don't even have to get to tax them more, although my belief is they should be taxed more. But let's start with the fact that they get all of the exemptions in the world. It would be like, shouldn't we be fighting for, if you are a low-income American and you have, a job, then you get special status and then you shouldn't have to pay your, or something. Don't get me wrong, there are exemptions around there, but bigger exemptions. Shouldn't that's who we're fighting for? Because one of the issues too is that even the rich can still make a lot of money and get richer if we can create a situation where people can afford homes. That benefits everybody.
How about just food? How about let's just start with your food. Let's start with your medication. All right. Let's just start with the absolute basics of life that every single American should have. We are the richest country in the world. We're the richest country in this Earth's history. $27.8 trillion a year is our GDP. No American should ever go hungry. Plain and simple. All right. And no senior citizen, no American should have to end up not eating because they have to pay for their medical supplies. I'm sorry. Everything else. Yeah. Housing. I'm with you on that too, Ben. I don't want to diminish that. Everyone should have a roof over their head, but food and medical, come on, give me a freaking break.
So you asked, where are all the Republicans stupid? And my view is that they're either stupid or more likely they're just power hungry and they know what they're doing. And they just say, you know what, for us to be in these positions, we need to just go all in on Donald Trump. Whatever he tells us, we say doesn't make a difference, whatever it is. If Donald Trump says countries eat the tariffs, even though we know that to be false, we know that importers are the ones who take the tariff, they pay it, and they pass it on to consumers. Sure, it's possible that an American company, a company based in the US, could for a short period of time eat it if they have excess inventory, or they can try their best to hold their margins. But eventually, like we're seeing now, they can't for too long. And then they start passing it on to consumers. And we're all seeing it in our prices. But if you think with a brain and you want to push back at Donald Trump, you can't be a Republican anymore. You just can't. You have to retire. So you have a guy like Don Bacon out of Nebraska, who, by the way, is like 99.9% with Donald Trump, but occasionally he'll say something that's logical, and you can't be logical. So here's what Don Bacon said regarding he said this yesterday regarding the job reports. And he goes, look, when I heard the number from the Bureau of Labor Statistics about these jobs being lost in the worst jobs report, he goes, all I can tell you is I'm a Congress member from Nebraska, soon to not be anymore. And I think that's a seat that Democrats can pick up. And I think he knew he was going to lose that seat. He goes, we're suffering in Nebraska. So what I'm seeing here and what people are telling me is consistent with the jobs report. Here's what Bacon has to say. Let's play it.
And I would just say, from my vantage point here in Nebraska, we're seeing a bit of a troubled economic mess, or right now it's a troubled time. And I'll say in Nebraska, the GDP here has decreased by 6% over the last year. And it's all about trade. It's all about getting corn and soybeans out the door. So what I hear with, a weak jobs numbers, well, we're sort of seeing that in Nebraska right now.
Yeah, and the fact that that's even
by
like,
the way, can we just dive into that for a tenth of a second? 6% in a state's GDP is enormous.
Yeah,
it's enormous.
Yeah, but by the way, I don't think that's unique to Nebraska. I mean, you take a look at Virginia, for example, right? Virginia used to be the best place to work in the United States, number one, everything. You have the governor, Youngkin, and you have the Republican candidate there. They're supporting Donald Trump destroying the state of Virginia, and they're supportive of the firing of all of the government employees. And it's like, your state has the most government employees living in Virginia. You're crumbling your state right now. And we've seen that with other MAGA Republicans as well. But then, you have Donald Trump after walking on the roof. We'll show more clips in a little bit, but he's walking on the roofs. Then he goes and he calls Joe Kernan from CNBC, who's like a MAGA financial guy on CNBC, which is just ridiculous that CNBC has this guy who's so MAGA and he's so Trump propaganda hosting a finance show. It's ridiculous. But then this is what Trump says about his EU trade deal, which is literally all a lie. Everything he says now is 100% false. And you'll see it's kind of like what I said with the media looking at Donald Trump like the gorilla coming out in the zoo. Oh my God.
But Kiernan did try to push back.
He tried to push back like boop, boop. Like it wasn't a real push. Like if that's a pushback, then, I don't know what beep, 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 boo, beep, boo. Here, let me just play this one clip and then I'll get your view on it. Here, let's play it.
Mr. President, what kind of teeth, though, are in those investments? What kind of teeth are in those investments, meaning that would force the EU to make those investments? If they don't make those investments, what happens on the other side?
Well, then they pay tariffs of 35%. No, they brought down their tariffs. So they paid $600 billion. And because of that, I reduced their tariffs from 30% down to 15%. And a couple of countries came, how come EU is paying less than us? And I said, well, because they gave me $600 billion. And that's a gift. That's not like, a loan, by the way. That's not a loan that, 3 years comes up, we have to pay it back. There's nothing to pay back. They gave us $600 billion that we can invest in anything we want.
the deal that you're
and nobody
now,
knows it, Becky. Nobody knows it because they don't know.
No, that we have been trying to figure out the details on that, Mr. President. So
well, there are no
the
details.
clarity on
the
that.
details are $600 billion to invest in anything I want. Anything.
Okay.
I can do anything I want with it. And the purpose was they've been, ripping us for so many years that it's time that they pay up, and they have to pay up. We couldn't afford to have the deficits. Look, I did something with Switzerland the other day. I spoke to their prime minister. The woman was nice, but she didn't want to listen. And they paid us.
I talked to Switzerland. The woman didn't want to. The leader of Switzerland. Maybe you want to know what her name is. But, you have the host of CNBC. Well, we're trying to figure out the terms of the deal. You shouldn't have to figure it out. Okay. If it was a deal, there'd be a piece of paper. And it would have writing on it, and it would have freaking terms, and you wouldn't have to figure it out. It wouldn't be a social media post if it was a real deal. And then Donald Trump goes, the deal's whatever I want it to be. They're going to give me the money. I do what I want with it. So how, as the media, to me at that point, just don't do the interview, right? Because how do you not go to Donald Trump? So let me be clear, Mr. President. Although I hate to call him that. Let me be very clear. You're saying the deal is just whatever you want. Hey, Mr. President, is there a written piece of paper here behind this? Are we going to get to see any terms?
Well, he said no, Ben. He said there are no details.
There are no terms.
Again, there are no terms. There are the only terms you need to know. They're paying me $600 billion. I could do with it as I wish. By the way, I wish to God that what he was saying was true, because we would be able to start knocking down our deficit. But $600 billion, just the EU is going to give, that they bought down, the same way to anybody here who has ever had a mortgage, where you can buy down your mortgage rate by advancing a certain amount of money, right? You're buying down their tariff rate from 30 to 15%. Seriously? And that additional 15% is going to amount to $600 billion? Personally, I'd like to see the check. I'd like to see the wire transfer.
Exactly.
$600 billion. Where did the money go? Where is the money?
Yeah, there's $600
Show me the money.
So $650 billion from the EU, or I think he said $750 billion was what they, during the first fake announcement. $550 billion from Japan, right? $450 billion from South Korea. So what are we talking about here?
$1.54 trillion so far.
Yeah, close. We're a quadrillion, bajillion dollars. We're close to $2 trillion right there. That should have gone right into our treasury. $2 trillion. Did it hit? Did it hit? Or by the way, where are the Doge dividends? Oh, wait a minute. Where are the tariff rebate checks? The guy is a con artist. It's just one con after another. I want to talk about that and more. I want to talk about what's happening with the Texas unlawful gerrymander. What's going on with, finally, we've got some Democratic governors stepping up and fighting back. We've got Texas state representatives have left the state to block a quorum so that the vote can occur in Texas. We've got a real fight on our hands, and I think people like to see Democrats kind of finally fighting back and fighting fire with fire. Okay, last quick break of the show. Reminder, subscribe to Mea Culpa. That's Cohen's audio podcast. Reminder, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to @The Michael Cohen Show YouTube channel. That's Michael Cohen's YouTube channel. Subscribe to his Substack, Michael Cohen Substack. Subscribe to our Substack. Quick break. Let's get right back. Finish strong. See you soon.
Look, after everything that I've been through, I know a thing or two about needing a reset, whether it's in life, in politics, or in your health. Sometimes you just have to start fresh. And when I need that kind of reset, Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet, it's my go-to. I've done it. I felt the difference. And you know what? It works. And look, summer's here. And sure, we all say that we're going to eat better. We're going to lose weight. We're going to hit the gym. But without a solid plan, all of that ends up in the land of broken promises. Prolon, it gives you structure backed by a serious science to help you get results that stick. So here's how. It's a plant-based, pre-packaged nutrition program. Soups, snacks, drinks, everything that you need for 5 days. It tricks your body into thinking it's fasting while it's actually being nourished. And the result? Fat loss, metabolic reset, cellular rejuvenation, and more energy without starving yourself. And the new Prolon Next Gen, It takes things to a whole new level. 100% organic soups and teas, better taste, ready-to-eat meals, and the same Nobel-winning science powering it all. So no matter the season, when I'm craving a real reset, Prolon is the only nutrition program that works for me. It's effective, convenient, and honestly, it's one of the smartest things I do for myself. And now, Political Beatdown listeners, brigaders, you're going to get exclusive access to a deal that you won't find anywhere else. So for a limited time, Prolon is offering 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day nutrition program. So head right now to prolonlife.com/beat. That's ProlonLife, PROLONLIFE.com/beat to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. Again, that's ProlonLife.com/beat. Give your body the reset it deserves and do it the right way.
Welcome back.
Boom.
To Political Beatdown. Let's talk about what some of these Democratic governors are doing, Michael Cohen. We've got this clip of California Governor Gavin Newsom talking about California going to gerrymander its map. Will set a trigger in California that if Texas goes and does its unlawful gerrymander, California will put on a referendum that basically gets rid of the independent commissions on gerrymandering, and we'll just do exactly what Texas does. We'll negate the seats that Texas picks up, and California will get rid of the Republican districts. And then New York said, we'll do it too. We have an independent commission. We have constitutional, provisions. But Governor Hochul said, we will change that up as well. First, here is Gavin Newsom. Let's play that first.
Things have changed. We're reacting to that change. They've triggered this response, and we're not going to roll over. And we're going to fight fire with fire. But we're going to do so not just punching with the weight of the fourth largest economy, the most populous state in our union, the size of 21 state populations combined, but we also will punch above our weight in terms of the impact of what we're doing. And I think that should be absorbed by those in the Texas delegation. Whatever they are doing will be neutered here in the state of California. And they will pay that price. And we believe public opinion is with our approach. And I appreciate the growing recognition in other states of other governors of like mind and the people of this country recognizing what's at stake. These folks don't play by the rules. If they can't win playing the game with the existing set of rules, they'll change the rules. That's what Donald Trump has done. He's dialing for seats. Familiar because he dialed for votes in the last election. Here's someone who tried to break this country, tried to light democracy on fire on January 6th. He recognizes he's going to lose in the midterms, and we have the opportunity to de facto end the Trump presidency in less than 18 months. That's what's at stake, and that's why we're putting a stake in the ground. We're not drawing lines to draw lines. We're holding the line on democracy, on the rule of law, co-equal branches of government, popular sovereignty. That's what this.
Yeah, you know the problem here, Ben? You know what the real problem here is? And I'm a fan of Gavin Newsom. Why are you talking about it?
Well, he's doing it.
Well, just do it.
He did it. It's in motion. But he is.
Do it. And you know what? Other than Gavin Newsom doing it, where's my governor, Kathy Hochul?
Here she is.
Why is everybody sitting there? They're just talking about what they're going to do. That's
to do it, you have to talk about it. I mean, you can't. You have to say, "I'm going to do it." Then you do it,
and just do it. Stop talking about it. Get the referendum on the.
Should be like
the second that they went ahead. No, the second the Republicans changed the game. The second that Texas went ahead and did it, Democrats, it's not like we didn't know that they were doing it. It's not that Governor Abbott hadn't said for weeks now that they're doing it. No. All right. This is when they said they were going to do what you do. You don't wait for somebody to punch you before you put your hands up. and then you set yourself up, right, to fight back. That's what it's always reactionary. Wouldn't it be nice if we Democrats were actually on the offense for once?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I think the issue as it relates to this issue, though, is
and
what
don't tell me that we can't just do it. All right. To those of you who are writing, oh, this is a democracy, fuck you. You have no idea what you're talking about. Republicans are doing it to us every single day. It's about time we went on the offense. It's enough already, because as we sit there trying to play by rules, they're shitting all over the rules. And you know who's losing out? You, the American people, me.
Well, let me show you Governor Hochul first. You kind of ruined the clip a little bit, but let me show you. I'll show you the clip.
There's no way to stop this if we don't find a way to have some checks and balance in Washington, because we do not have it now. And if we don't stand up and fight, we'll not have it for the entirety of Donald Trump's tenure. And that is what is so frightening to me. You know what? I'm a New Yorker. I'm from Buffalo. Fighting is second nature to us. I'm not afraid of this. That's why I said bring it on, because Texas, bullies in Texas, are not going to intimidate us now or ever.
All right, great that they're saying it. I agree, Cohen. Now do it. Let's see you do the thing. Cohen, two-finger salute. Who does it go to?
So the two-finger salute has to go to all of these Democrats. I'm sorry, to all of the Republicans, like Mike Flood, the guy Steele, the other idiot, whatchamacallit, from Texas, Governor Abbott, all of them that just think that they can roll over us, that they can just sit there, gaslight us, to lie to us that, oh, yeah, we're turning around and we're telling you everything is great. By the way, everything's great, right? You're great. Prices are down. Gasoline's $1.99. And you're supposed to sit there like a bobblehead and shake your head, all right? I'm so sick and tired of them standing up on these podiums and lying to not just their constituents, but to the entire American, to the entire United States of America. They just sit there and they lie to us day in and day out. And to all of them that are doing this, to these feckless fuckers that just think that it's okay to just ruin something as great as our democratic republic, fuck you all.
Cohen, let me show you Governor Pritzker in Illinois with the Texas state legislatures. Let's play this clip right here, legislators.
Texas Democrats were left no choice but to leave their home state, block a vote from taking place, and protect their constituents. This is a righteous act of courage, and we can all take a page from these leaders' playbook. When you show people that you have the will to fight, well, they can muster the will to fight too. Right. Yeah. Courage is
right. And you know what we need? We need Ben to get up onto a stage to go, and I'm happy to go with you, brother, go to towns that are purple and red. And I would just turn around and I would involve the audience. I would kind of do exactly what J.B. Pritzker is doing, but I would do it with the communities. I would do it to the communities. Speaking and preaching to our own doesn't do anything in order to change the results. We need action, exactly. We need action, not words.
Well, Cohen, in Nebraska, in Omaha, on August 23rd, the Midas Touch Network, part of the Won't Back Down tour with Move On, we will be in Omaha, Nebraska, just like we were in Phoenix, Arizona, speaking to people from 2 Arizona congressional districts that can be flipped. We were there this weekend. Adam Mockler, who I know you know very well, he was the host. We had Senator Murphy, we had Congresswoman Crockett, we had Congresswoman Ansari there in Phoenix. Then in Omaha, we're going to have Congressmember Frost. We're going to have Senator Elizabeth Warren. And Mockler's hosting that event in Omaha. So everybody check out the Move On, Won't Back Down tour if you're in that area. But I'm with you. One of that last event was so successful that we did in Arizona. People had fun. You know, like people were at the bar, then they went to it was like a concert. People really enjoyed the whole, it was very interactive. It wasn't too long. It was like the perfect length of 90 minutes. And so one of the things I hope to do, and Cohen, you can join me on as many stops as you think you want to make it. I want to have Mockler do these meetings across the country with as many people as possible. I think what we should do in New York, Cohen, is exactly what you did about 4 months ago when it was you and Lemon. Like that off-Broadway concept is really cool. And I almost think, granted, it's New York, it's not a swing state, but there's something about being on Broadway or right off Broadway that as a recurring thing that feels
let's do it. All you need to do is just give me a date. It's a friend of mine who owns the theater. And so, I have access to it unless there's a show that's going on. I have, complete access to the theater. According to my buddy.
Let's just not even talk about it.
Stream it.
Let's not even talk about it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. No more talking.
Yeah. I'm not talking.
Thank you, No, like literally what we do is talk. No more talking. No more talking on the podcast.
It's it. There's no more talking about now.
It's facial gestures and just facial gestures.
Right. And bing, bing, bings.
Bing, bing, bong, bong. All right. We'll see everybody next time on Political Beatdown. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to Michael Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. Subscribe to his audio podcast. Maybe there won't be talking. Maybe it'll just be a moment of silence that lasts an hour on his audio podcast. Subscribe.
I can do that one.
Subscribe to the Mea Culpa audio podcast and check out his Substack. Check out our Substack. All right, everyone. This was a fun one. Let's keep fighting. Stay in the fight together. We've got this. Shout out to the Beatdown Brigaders and shout out Midas Mighty. Have a good one, everybody.
Boom.